Well, good morning. Welcome to another Wine Steward video, and thank you for watching. My name is Jim, and I'm coming to you today from the Wine Bar Mezzanine, where we change the menu absolutely every week to give you frequenters of the mezzanine a different experience every week. And those of you who are new to this mezzanine get to find out by looking at that menu what we represent here in this store as far as variety. It's crazy. When you walk in the store, you see a whole bunch of flags, and you look up at a mezzanine where people are enjoying tastes and glasses of wine, and the menu they're looking at represents us in that we have nations, many nations worth of wine, not just from the United States, not just from the Livermore Valley, but from all over. I like variety, don't you? I don't like to drink the same darn thing every day, and so maybe this store is all about me. I don't know. It certainly appeases my sense of wine adventure, and I do believe many of you share that sense of adventure with me. So let's talk about this wine right here. This is a real wine that we are pouring on our mezzanine wine bar flight this week. This comes from the south of France, from a city, well, a wine region named for the city within called Nîmes. Nîmes, N-I-M-E-S, ancient Roman town, a port city, and in fact, the name Denham, not the way my last name is spelled, Denham, but my last name is pronounced Denham, but D-E-N-I-M is actually Denim, the fabric and the blue jeans, perhaps, originally came from Nîmes. Did you know that? Yes, because as a port city, this area would accommodate ships coming in with worn out sails, maybe a rip and a tear here and there, but that fabric was certainly useful, that heavy duty fabric, for the making of apparel. And so denim comes from there. Anyway, that doesn't sound very delicious. Let's talk about this wine from that same place that is in fact very delicious. This is a blend of Grenache and Syrah and Carignan, I believe. And finally, Marselan. Marselan is a grape that maybe you haven't heard about yet, but I think you're going to hear more about it. They're actually permitting the growing and use of Marselan in Bordeaux now as a way to address the warming climate there. But Marselan has been a workhorse grape in the south of France, and in the Rhone Valley. It's just not talked about much. It's not permitted in a so-called Côte de Rhône, and this wine is therefore not called Côte de Rhône. It's just a nice red wine from, or de Nîmes, and it is once again, a Syrah or Grenache based, actually Syrah based, I believe. That happens a lot in Nîmes. Did you know that? You're in the Rhone Valley of France in this subregion called Nîmes for a delicious wine that I believe never even saw barrels. It doesn't need it. The exuberant fruit of those Rhone varieties, why mess with it? And so a nice balanced bistro style wine. What do I mean by that? You will know this wine fully by having a whole glass of it with good food. Maybe a cheese board, some charcuterie on the side, maybe some olives as well. That would be a very Nîmes thing to do. Anyway, enjoy this wine called Morgue de Grès, a very real wine in that it speaks to source. It's not gussied up. There's not too much manipulation happening here, where it had a lot of care, to make sure nothing went bad. That care extended only that far. They preserved the place and the beautiful fruit in this wine, de Nîmes, okay? Morgue de Grès. Let's just remind you that we are also in the spirits business these days. We're not pouring spirits upstairs, but we are selling it out the front door, and we have a beautiful array of gin and tequila and whiskey and such. This is a beautiful, beautiful whiskey of which we were only able to obtain 12 bottles because I believe only 10 six-packs came to California. This is a limited release whiskey from one of our favorite producers who is actually not here in the US or Japan, or from the other places you might consider traditional for the production of whiskey, but from Australia. And Starward here has made this thing that actually uses the term bourbon on the label, so you have to read a little more carefully, because what I can tell you is that this is made entirely of malted barley, 100% single grain malted barley whiskey that has the word bourbon somewhere on that label. I don't have my reading glasses on, so I can't point that out, but I'll bet you can see it on this video. And look more carefully, and you'll see the allusion to bourbon barrels. Now, what Starward typically does, kind of their house thing, is their whiskeys are typically finished in local wine barrels. In other words, they, down in Australia, are obtaining used wine barrels from the likes of Penfolds barrels that are not messed up yet bacterially. In fact, they've just been drained of wine, and then they head to starward, and the bourbon goes in and rests for maybe 2, maybe 3 years, that way. So that's kind of the shtick for starward, if you will. In this case, bourbon barrels, that is barrels that were used to make bourbon in the United States, because bourbon is a US only thing, don't you know? It has to be at least 51% what class? Corn, to be classified as bourbon. There's some other requirements as well, aging requirements and American oak and such. These are American oak bourbon barrels that are being repurposed for the finishing 5 years of this particular whiskey from Starward. It's a very limited release, 100% malted barley. It is delicious. I got to try it with my friend Cosmin about a month and a half ago, spoke for the 12 bottles that he said, okay, I think we can give you that many. They've arrived. I'll tell you what though, if you're interested in a bottle of this, in 1 or 2 weeks, we're having the actual proprietor of Starward visiting the wine steward. He's not gonna be like seeing you necessarily, but he's gonna be seeing this, that we have gotten this new release that we're not really supposed to sell yet. What we can do is you buy this now, you pay for it, we hold it for you, we will have him sign it for you if you'd like. How about that? I mean, I don't think it'll make it taste any better, but it's kind of cool, and it would be a very nice gift this holiday season for the whiskey lover in your life. Starward Bourbon Barrel Finished whiskey from Australia. Let's tell you about a couple of things happening on our wine bar mezzanine. This is a beautiful Rioja that we've just obtained. We've found that many of you love this type of wine. I certainly do. Rioja, of course, is the most well-known wine region in Spain. Its main grape is what, class? Cabernet? Nope. There is a teeny tiny bit of Cabernet in Rioja. They're not really supposed to put it in wine made there, but there are a couple of producers kind of grandfathered into the old rules of, okay, maybe some cab can go in. Anyway, no cab in this. This, in fact, is Tempranillo, mainly, and then some Mazuelo. Do you know what Mazuelo is? That's the other name for Carignan. Carignan, Carignana, Carignano, you can call it that if you're in Sardinia. But we are in Rioja, so we're using the term Mazuelo as a minor ingredient here. And then finally, Graciano. Graciano is kind of like the Petit Verdot of Rioja, you could say. All you need is a little bit of Graciano and you will darken the wine, you will add some spice and maybe some garden qualities. You add a beautiful sense of mystery by adding just a bit of Graciano to your Rioja. This is a Reserva, meaning that it aged longer in barrel for us. And the beautiful thing about Rioja is they hang on to the wine for us as well. So this is a current release, a new release, that's a 2016. This Rioja is beautifully mellowed out. It prices well under $30, and you wine club members, at least current ones, get 10% off of that. So if you get your hands on this, you will not be displeased, I promise. And if you like lamb, have some lamb with it. If you don't like lamb, that's all right. You'll still like this wine. American oak on Tempranillo with Graciano and Mazuelo is muy bueno. All right, let's tell you about this wine because I want to taste it. This particular bottle is still corked, but I had another bottle back there, and here we go, my little morning sip of sparkling wine. Champagne? No, but sparkling wine from France, another part of France. I've told you about this before, but I cannot stop talking about how this rivals champagne at the same price. This is about $31, $32, and it is worth every penny. And those of you who love champagne will like this alternative as well. This comes from the region of Beaujolais. It's made entirely of Beaujolais signature grape, which is what, class? Gamay Noir. You can call it Gamay if you want. And it is a beautiful sparkling wine that aged for 2 years on its lees. What a smell. As you can see, I'm having it not out of the traditional flute or even the tulip style glass that I prefer to have sparkling wine in more often, but sometimes I try it in a big fat burgundy glass so I can smell every bit of this beautiful sparkling wine from Beaujolais. There's proof, it's delicious. Let's tell you about two wines that are in the wine bar flight, white flight. We do a red tasting plate and a white tasting plate. Of course, you are very welcome to have a whole flight and then maybe have a glass of one of your favorites. Which glass will you have? We have two different wines from Burgundy I want to tell you about. Burgundy, just north of Beaujolais, where we just were with that sparkling wine. Let's get the pumpkin off of here because we need room for both of these. These are both in the wine bar flight. They're separated by a couple of other wines, but early on we are doing this wine called Chablis. And don't run away if you are misunderstanding that Chablis is a jug wine. with a handle on it made in the Central Valley of California. No, we kind of ruined the name Chablis by stealing that very important European wine name and applying it to crap. This is in fact good shit, and it's made entirely of Chardonnay, which again may have you running away, but note, this is made in a very cool area compared to growing areas of California, and it is grown in Kimmeridgian limestone. That is, this grows where the sea used to be. This is using prehistoric seabed as the base for the roots of these Chardonnay vines. The limestone and the cool temperature give you, along with a no oak treatment, by the way, a very vibrant, lively wine. Now, Chablis, like all Burgundy, has definitely gone up in price lately. Over the years, Chablis has gone from maybe being a $18 wine to being typically well over $30 just for the regular AOC Chablis. This AOC Chablis, I'll tell you later what that stands for, is in fact in the low 20s. Now, it's not the most extravagantly complex or grandiose Chablis I've ever had. It doesn't need to be. For this nice little price, you're getting vibrant zing, delicious nerve. It's a wonderful wine with seafood, with cream sauces, with delicate cheeses. A delicious Chablis for a very un-Chablis-like price, as it prices these days. This wine is also, it may be the exact same price. And this brings us to the other extreme of Burgundy. We're going to the deep south part of Burgundy, where we are almost intruding on Beaujolais, that region, to go to the Mâcon area. This is from Mâcon-la-Roche-Vigneuse, which just happens to be the name of one of the villages there. So you have wines called Mâcon that are from the general area of Mâcon, and then the one step up identifies a particular village within Mâcon. So this is more site-specifically important. More important than that is the fact that we've gone south means it's a little warmer. There's a little more sunshine here. And so the Burgundies, the white Burgundies, Mâcons, are a little bit fleshier, a little bit bigger, a little bit yummier. And it's still not California Chardonnay. Whenever we put this on the wine bar, it sells very well. And people are very pleasantly surprised that they still like Chardonnay, at least in the Burgundy form. So check these out on the wine bar. Have glasses of each if you want. It's a really nice opportunity to get to know Burgundy two different ways, two different extremes, north and south, colder, warmer, and that's what we're all about here at the Wine Steward. Go A's. Today's the last game at the Oakland Coliseum, and just a little tribute to them. Hey, thank you so much for all you're doing here with us. Keep using wine, will you? Bye-bye.